So what we see from here, Rabotai, when it comes to baseless talk, when it comes to meaningless talk, Rabbi Elimelech of Lezhensk says, use any means possible to avoid the conversation. And as Rav Ephraim says, Lo chaval azman, isn't it a shame to waste time? Now, the Gemara in Masechet Yoma, page 19b, will give us the next point of our journey, of what the value of words are. We need some inspiration, and there's no better inspiration than fear, at least at the start. If you tell somebody, listen, you should love God because He's good to you, that may make the person do a mitzvah, but it's not going to stop him from making a sin. If you tell a person, don't do a sin because then God will burn you in Gehinnom forever, typically a normal person will stop making that sin. As I said, normal person. Some people need a little bit of practice to become normal. So the sages, many times throughout the Gemara, throughout the Zohar, throughout all of the Sfarim, speak in a very, very sharp language, very threatening. I like it. It motivates us, inspires us, it reminds us where we stand. The sages talk about V'dibartam bam. Same thing, same place, in Shema Yisrael, where we're told that we should speak of them. What is this speak of them? Speak of them, the Torah is referring to, speak of the words of Torah. Speak the words of Torah. That's what the Torah is referring to. But why does it say, speak of them, rather than just say, speak the words of Torah? To teach you that you have permission to speak them, the words of Torah, but you don't have permission to speak other matters, aside from what you need to live. Rava says, one who engages in trivial conversation transgresses a positive commandment. For as it says in the Torah, and you shall speak of them, which implies speak of them, but not of other matters. Rav Acha bar Yaakov says, a person who speaks trivial conversation, meaningless conversation, transgresses a negative commandment also, because it also says in the Torah, in the Tanakh, Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 8, all the wearying words a man may not speak. Meaning that when you speak about mundane talk, things that are meaningless, you're spending a lot of effort, a lot of energy, but you don't actually have any positive results to ever expect out of it. You're wasting your energy that should be used for Torah. Such a waste is forbidden. So of course, a person that's just starting out in the world of Torah and is not even remotely close to ever being a Torah scholar, to this is foreign to them. And that's why we say Chassidut is something you grow into over time. It's not something you just adopt in 1 second. And it's certainly not just based on clothing. There's a lot more to it than just wearing a certain type of clothes. But if a person understands that at the very least, they have to be more careful with how they use their words, not to lie, not to cheat, not to curse. As the Gemara Masechet Shabbat says, somebody who curses can lose blessings that were decreed upon them for 70 years. Meaning if it was decreed on a person to get blessings for another 70 years worth of blessings, one curse can lose all of those blessings. Why? Could you use a holy vessel that Hashem gave you and you profaned it? So when a person understands not to speak nonsense, not to speak to just anybody, not to use dirty language, not to be a flatterer or a gossiper, lashon hara, insulting people, all types of things like this, that's easy for everyone to understand. Now, if you are already above that, and you can become more careful with your speech, start off with eliminating all mundane talk, as much as humanly possible. But there are times that it's not possible. And that's what Rabbi Elimelech is talking about. He knows we live in the world. He says, train yourself to follow the sages that tell you, teach your tongue to say, I don't know. But when people who are careless in this come and speak to you, and they want to talk to you, listen, I really need to talk to somebody. Well, what do you talk about? Listen, I'm really stressed out. Well, what happened? Is everything okay? Your wife's okay? Yeah, she's fine, she's fine. Your kids are okay, they're healthy, everything. Yeah, they're fine. What are you stressed about? Oh, the economy, the economy. The national debt is so high right now. And also I'm worried. Russia, Russia is crazy right now. They want to start a third world war. And I'm really concerned about the weapons and whether we could afford to go into another war. And you know what happened with the medicine and Corona was really killing people. And what? Leave me alone. There's literally already maggots coming out of my brain because you're killing it. Leave me alone. That's what you want to tell this person. But you can't. Why? This person may be your father. This person may be your mother. You can't tell him, leave me alone, I don't want to talk to you. You have to sit there and say, yeah, Bezrat Hashem, Bezrat Hashem. Find a way. Find a way to get out of that conversation without slighting their honor even a little bit. Even a little bit. Or perhaps they're your student. Or there's somebody that doesn't have anybody else. Literally, they don't have anybody else. And they're coming to confide in you, and sometimes you have to do it a little bit because it's chesed for them to simply just listen to them. Train yourself, because there are going to be some people who are careless in this, that come to speak to you about frivolous matters, and you should use any means possible to avoid the conversation. But if you cannot avoid the conversation, you should offer the briefest answers possible, no more than absolutely necessary. Meaning just because there is a permission to be there and talk to them and listen to them doesn't mean you go waste your whole day on it or start wasting hours doing it or doing it on a regular basis. Meaning there's a time and a place for everything, and a person has to be clever to know how to utilize their time. But of course, in order for us to value our time, when a person is Jewish and knows that his Torah is priceless, hearing it sounds good. Knowing it is much better. So for that, I'll tell you a couple of stories. Rav Ephraim heard the story from his dear father, Rav Chaim Kachlon, Shichyeh, this Shabbat. And Rav Chaim says, he spoke to the man, spoke to the person behind it. And he says, years ago, maybe 30 years ago, there was an Avrech that tragedy came upon him and his house burned down, his apartment burned down. Everything destroyed. And he was actually neighbors with Rav Ovadia Yosef. Now this Avrech came to Rav Ovadia after he got the worst news, aside from the burning house, which is that to fix it, it's going to cost 200,000 shekels. And this is Avrech. What is he making? A few hundred shekels a month. What is he making? 200,000 shekels, you might as well tell him 200 million. He's just as far from that as he is from the 200,000. So he came to Rav Ovadia. And he told Rav Ovadia the story. And Rav Ovadia told him, listen, I'll write you a letter. And you can take this letter and go try collect the money. And Avrech says, please, Kvod Rav, what am I going to get from people? 10,000, 15,000 I'm going to get from them. I need 200,000. Where am I going to get such money? Plus, it's going to be such a waste of time, effort. So Ovadia says, okay, let me think about it. Let's pray now, and let me think about it. They went and prayed in the Rav Ovadia's shul, and after the prayer, a rich Jew was visiting and came to Rav Ovadia and asked Rav Ovadia if he would please honor them by coming to the Brit Milah of the firstborn grandson that this rich man has. They're having it in a very fancy place, and they want the honor to have the Rav be as the Sandak. Rav Ovadia was a Sandak on many, many Brits, but in his later years, he said no more being a Sandak anywhere else other than his own shul in order not to waste time traveling, going back and forth. Anyone that wants Rav Ovadia to be a Sandak, bring the baby to his shul, Shachrit. They do the prayer, finish, 2 minutes literally, they're finished with the Brit Milah. But this rich man did not want that. He wanted Rav Ovadia to come to the place. And Rav Ovadia says, no, I'm sorry, I cannot do it. Too much time, it's going to take an hour of my time. I can't, it's bitul Torah. Wasting time. And the man begged him, he said, please, Rabbi, please, I'll do anything. Anything the rabbi says, I'll do. I promise my son. This is the first grandson the family has. I promise my son that I'm going to have Rav Ovadia come. Be the sandak for this baby. And Rav Ovadia says, anything? Okay. Go help that Jew. You see that Avrech over there sitting? Go help him. You help him, I'll come. Of course, the rich man runs over to this Avrech that he never saw or heard before. He says, sure, listen, Rav Ovadia sent me here to help you. What do you need? Whatever you need, I'm here. He says, no, listen, I'm okay. No, what do you need? What do you need? Come on, tell me, I need something. He says, I need 200,000 shekels. You got it, no problem. Here, takes out a checkbook on the spot, writes 200,000 shekels, as if it's writing $2. Gives it to him in his hand. Runs back to Rav Ovadia. He says, wait, hold on a second. What is this for? No, it's for the rabbi to come, be the sandak and the Brit Milah. Immediately the Avrech runs back after the guy, goes in front of Rav Ovadia. Goes, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And he gives back the guy the check. He goes, why not? He goes, you think that I will take upon myself to waste an hour of Rav Ovadia's Torah time? Absolutely not. No way. Let the house be burned and we'll just live in a burnt house rather than waste an hour of Rav Ovadia's time. When Rav Ovadia heard this Avrech's respect for his time, for his Torah, immediately he got up and he told this Avrech, listen to me. Go and sell your house as it is. Sell your house without changing anything. Take that money from the house. There's a place called Bet Shemesh that the state is trying to build. There's almost nothing there. Go and buy 2 houses over there. One big house to live in and one small house. The small house you turn it into a little synagogue. You go do that, I promise you're going to succeed. For the merit of how much you valued my hour of Torah. That you gave me an hour of Torah, you're going to see success. The Avrech listened to this Chacham's advice, listened to the Gdol Hador's advice without second-guessing anything. Today, even if you tell people the halacha on something, they second-guess you. But maybe there's a different opinion. Immediately, he took the Chacham's advice to practice, sold his house, burned as it is, sold it, got some money, but the houses in Bet Shemesh at the time were so cheap, there was virtually nobody there, that you could buy things for pennies. He was able to buy 2 houses with that money. Got a big house for himself, got a small house as a big knesset, but now there's a problem. What's the problem? There's no minyan. And he's there doing whatever he can. Came to Rav Ovadia for a blessing because I promise you're going to succeed. Don't worry. You value Torah, you're going to succeed. And this Avrech is in his shul one day in Bet Shemesh, and a person comes in, a businessman comes in. He said, listen, we are looking for somebody to be the head of all of the institutions we have that we're building here. Yeshiva Gdola, Yeshiva Ktana, synagogue, seminary for girls, everything. And I want you to be the head since I see you're the only one that has come here and is trying, I want you to be the head. What do you say? The Avrech says, I'd be happy to, but I don't have any money. I'm sorry. He goes, no, don't worry about it. You don't need any money. The state already gave us land as part of this whole thing that they're trying to push for people to come here and build. And for the building, I already have a donor. All you got to say is yes. And of course, he said yes, and the blessings came upon him. And until this day, his institutions are some of the biggest in Bet Shemesh. And of course, Bet Shemesh has prospered tremendously over the last 20 or so years. Baruch Hashem. V'ken yirbu. But we see here, Rabotai Karim, what this man got just for valuing 1 hour of Torah. 1 hour of Torah. When a person understands the value of Torah in the next world, the story you just heard means nothing in comparison to it. Because as much glory and glamour and profit that a person can get in this world, it's literally worthless in comparison to what a person gets for that single hour in the next world. So why waste the time? Why waste an hour of your life talking about mundane nonsense that cannot help you nor the other person? But unfortunately, some people are addicted to this. So much so that they actually study for the conversations. They read the news. They read the news. They watch the news. They listen to the news so they can have something new to say to the people they waste their life with. Literally, it's like drinking poison and then expecting to live. The way a person needs to look at these types of conversations where people come to you and ask you to talk about nothing, and what Rabbi Elimelech of Lezhinsk is trying to tell us, and so when somebody is coming to you and trying to talk to you about nothing, you have to think about it as if they're about to take a part of your life that you're never going to get back. A half hour, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, however you give them. And if you give it to them an hour, certainly they're going to come back tomorrow for another hour. And the next day for another hour. And perhaps they're going to come on a regular basis. And literally this person is going to steal an hour from your life. Now, people don't value their time as much as they value their body. So imagine this. If somebody came to you and says, listen, you have 2 ears. Can I have one? Huh? What do you mean? What? You have 2 ears. See, you have 2. You don't need 2. Let me just take one. How about I'll just take the earlobe. How about that? Okay, fine. You don't want that? Fine. How about your nose? Can I take your nose? Okay, fine. You only have one nose. Give me the cheeks. Maybe I'll take your cheeks. Listen, crazy guy, get out of here. I want my body as it is. How come you want your body as it is, but your time you don't? When a person does not value their time as much as they value their body, they could easily lose both without realizing it. The Pri Megadim, which is a super commentary on the Shulchan Aruch by Rabbi Yosef Teomim, lived in the 1700s. He was an extraordinary chacham that hid himself from society in a very clever manner for years before he unveiled his wisdom and became one of Gdolei Israel. But in one of his letters to another chacham, he told him, listen, at this time of your life, you should do what I did and hide yourself. Anytime people come to you and ask you Torah questions, pretend like you don't understand what they're saying. Pretend like you don't even know what the question is. Pretend like you're confused. That way, they won't come back to you over and over again. There are plenty of other places and other chachamim they can go to. Let them leave you alone for now, because this will give you more time to learn and more time to better yourself and more time to write the books, because if you start now answering everybody's questions, you're never going to have time to learn. You're never going to have time to write your books. You're never going to have time to develop yourself. So hide yourself for as long as you can. This is not just what the Pri Megadim did. This is something that many Chachamim did, even after they became Gdolei Israel. Rav Elyashiv, alav hashalom, is famously known that he generally would not go to events. Many of Chachamim would not go to events. And if they went literally for minutes. I remember when I went to Eretz Yisrael, there was a couple of events that we were invited to, Rabbi Ephraim and I. But the way we went to events, the way Rabbi Ephraim goes to events, and I learned from him of how to do it, is very simple. First, you generally try to get away with not going. But some people really care that you come. So there's a SHIUR, a picture. Everything has a SHIUR, everything has a measure. And there's a measure of how long you need to be there in order for the host to be happy. How much is that measure? Enough measure for them to take a picture with you in it. So literally we would go to a place, we say hello, sometimes sit down, maximum 3 to 4, 5 minutes. There's a picture usually taken. Thank you very much, Chazaku Baruch. And you leave. And we did this for at least a half a dozen events that we were invited to, that we could not go to. And this is the way it is. Many of Chachmei Israel, this is what they do. They go, they say hello, somebody takes a picture, they pay the respects, and they leave. There's no meal, there's no nothing. Even sometimes they'll have enough time within those 5 minutes to even dance with the Chatan for 2 minutes. He's happy now? Okay, now it's time to go. Rabbi Yashiv Alav Shalom, anytime he couldn't get away with not going, he would go, he would sit at the table, but he would make sure to put a hat on the chair that's next to him. And one time they asked Rabbi Yashiv, why do you put a hat on the chair next to you? He says, because I'm putting one extra layer of distance for anyone that will have the chutzpah to come and bother me while I'm learning Torah. They won't come and sit next to me. They'll see that I'm busy or that they can't sit there because there's a hat. What are they going to take my hat and lift it from the chair? That takes an extra level of chutzpah to do that. Let them let me be so I could learn Torah even at the event, wherever I am, in the morning, in the afternoon, at night, on the way, before I lay down, before I go to sleep. At all times the Chachamim are learning Torah. Why waste time? Why waste time, Rabotai? Why waste time? Because what happens when you waste time? What happens when your mind is empty of Torah? Aside from what the Rambam says, that immorality comes to people that have a mind that's empty of Torah. But if a person lives a life without having Torah in their life, all of the mundane talk about politics, about business, about sports, about fashion, about everything else in the world, you literally can sum up in a matter of maybe a couple of conversations and there's no more to talk about without getting new information. And a couple of stories will give you an understanding. The hostages that Hashem were taken hostage by the monsters of Hamas on October 7th, reported themselves saying that one of the most difficult things that they experienced while being hostages was the boredom, because they weren't allowed to do anything, and they just wanted the time to pass. So what do? They literally, when they would get a bowl of rice, to finally eat, they would, to pass the time, they would eat 1 grain of rice at a time. 1 grain of rice at a time just to pass the time. I mean, some of these poor people were there for 100, 150 days. And they didn't have any Torah knowledge. They didn't have even a verse of Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, that you could recite in your mind and not only increase your merits, but you could delve into it and think of many other things from it. They didn't have a Mishnah from Masechet Avot, Torah Tzivalnu Moshe Morasha, Kilat Yaakov, what that means. How does the Torah transmit from Moshe Rabbeinu all the way to us? Moshe gave it to Yeshua, Yeshua gave it to the Skenim gave it to the Nevi'im gave it to Anshe Knesset HaGdolah. They didn't have anything. They didn't have no knowledge of Torah, and therefore whatever mundane topics they studied, whether it be in school or in society or the news and everything, that all ran out within a matter of a day or two. And literally, for the vast majority of time, they had nothing to talk about. This is also most apparent with people age. As the Gemara itself says that when Chachamim age, they get older, they get sharper. Their bodies may give out, but their minds become sharper. A Chacham that studied Torah his whole life is much, much more sharp when he's 80 years old than when he was 20. On the other hand, people that don't learn Torah, as they age, they become more dull. because their mind has not been utilized to the best ability throughout its life, and it becomes worse and worse. In fact, the worst thing that old people suffer is boredom. Rav Shalom Shvadron, alav shalom, one of the most profound chachamim and speakers that we had in the most recent generation, said that one time when he came to the Bet Midrash, he told them, I just learned something while making shlom bayit. So what did the chacham make? What did he see? What did he do? He says, as I'm walking towards the Bet Midrash, I see that there is a old couple, maybe mid-70s, 80 years old, arguing at the bus stop. 38, 37, 38, 37, 38. You don't know what you're talking about. You're always pessimistic. You don't know how to count. You're forgetful. 37. You always exaggerate. You don't know what you're talking about. You always see things. 37, 38, 37, 38, back and forth. So immediately I say, what's going on here? I went over there and I say, Rabotai, can I help you with something? Oh, Rabbi, great that you're here. Baruch Hashem, maybe you can help us with this big problem that we have. Okay, what's the problem? He says, Rabbi, we're here. We don't have much to do, so we sit here, and we count how many buses pass. Now, my dear husband over here, he counted 37. And my dear wife over here, the husband says, she counted 38. But of course, she counted 38 because she always exaggerates. He only counted 37 because he's pessimistic and forgetful. He doesn't remember even anything of what he ate yesterday. So we want you, Rabbi, to tell us who's right, 37 or 38. Rav Shalom Shvadron, in his wisdom of Torah, says to them, you're both right. Huh? How can we both be right? Listen, you counted 37, he counted 38. That's because there's a double bus. That's a bus that's connected to another bus. You counted it as one, and she counted it as two. Oh, Chacham, wow, perfect, amazing, yes, you're absolutely right. May Hashem create more like you. Wow, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. So Rab Shalom Shvadron says to us, yes, on one end it's great, we make shlom bayit, but on the other end, look at what happens to a person if he does not learn Torah. In his later years, he's not going to have anything else to talk about other than counting buses. This, Rabotai Karim, is why we say and emphasize every single week, doing tshuva and learning Torah is not a gift you're giving anybody but yourself. Because all of the other information you're consuming, all of the other things that you're doing, every single one of them would lose its value shortly after you attained it. But the Torah that you attained, the Torah that you acquire only increases value over time. And that's why on another end, when Rav Ephraim was young and he went to visit his uncle, his dear uncle that I've met several times at Tzaddik, Rav Moshe Atiyah, and he went to visit him for Shabbat, and he saw that after they finished praying the Arvit for Shabbat, there was one old man that stayed at the synagogue, got a Gemara, and sat down. And Rav Atiyah told young Rav Ephraim, and he told me, you see that man? He's not going to go home until he completes 7 or 8 dapim of the Gemara. Because even though Gemara itself says that you shouldn't delay doing Kiddush after completing prayer on Friday, he said, here, he made an agreement with his wife. Since he's older, and she's older, there's no kids or grandkids at their house. There's no reason to hurry up having the dinner at a specific time. And since he learned 7 dapim of Gemara every single day, to complete the Shas once a year, and doing it in the morning or the afternoon on Friday is very difficult because he needs to help to prepare the house. So he does it before he comes home. So sometimes they'll have the Kiddush at 9 p.m., sometimes at 10 p.m., sometimes at 9:30. Depends on how difficult those 7 or 8 dapim that he does on that Friday night, because he's not just learning on Friday night. He's learning the whole week, but he has to complete his learning that Friday night. We see from here, this is a person that not only values his time, is very particular about how he uses it, but also as a person that has not lost his zeal, his purpose, and his excitement for life, because he still has Torah. He still has Torah. He doesn't have to count buses. He doesn't have to count grains of rice. He's continuing to develop his mind in his old age. And this, Rabotai Karim, is why when a person learns Torah and dedicates themselves to it, they'll know that the value is priceless. But then they'll also start to understand why the value of wasting your time on baseless conversations is also priceless, but on the negative end. So let's try to save our words only for purposeful things. Make sure to encourage others, like your kids or other people that want to say Divrei Torah, that we give them the time of day, we give them the opportunity and not discourage them. Know when to say I don't know when to say I have to go. And most importantly, know how to utilize our time. Thank you very much for learning with me. May Hashem bless each and every single one of you to have success in your learning Torah and to utilize your time in this world to maximize all the good that you do. Anyone that wants to donate and support the organization, support our marketing of the new film, Oregon News, or the AI Rabbi, can certainly donate at the website, be'ezrat-hashem.org. Some people have really taken it to heart that the opportunity to donate stock and Bitcoin or all types of other cryptocurrency, now you can do that officially on the website, be'ezrat-hashem.org. I believe we're the only one that I know of, at least, that can accept it as an organization. So that's certainly good for tax purposes. But most importantly, Rabotai Karim, when you donate to Be'ezrat Hashem, you know that you're donating to the right place because you see the track record, you see what's happening. You see the films, you see the posters, you see the books, you see the USBs, you see all the things that Baruch Hashem are happening, the poor people being fed. And this is why the people that have donated significantly to our organization over the years have received extraordinary miracles. Anytime somebody asks me, what can I do to get a big miracle? Now you have the answer, because we've seen how many miracles were reported over the last few months of people that have donated. So anyone that wants to can donate at be'ezrat-hashem.org, be'ezrat-hashem.org. If you want to subscribe to the new AI Rabbi app to ask all your questions and get immediate answers, regardless of what the question is, so long as it's relevant to Torah or ideology of Torah, you could go to airabbi.org. And if you want to get some free books and some of these SHIUR posted and distributed in your community, go to kiruvstore.org. All of it's free. All of it, Be'ezrat Hashem, will be sent out to you. B'cha b'atzlacha, and Be'ezrat Hashem will learn again later this week.